Today, we are talking about the Spendthrift Trust, the updates and things you might need to know. My name is Chris Thompson. Welcome to the Corner Barn. I have my trust guy, Mr. Don Thornton, with us here. Don, good to see you, buddy.
I'm glad to be here, Chris. The barn is looking really comfy.
Thank you. It's a little chilly today. We got some rain, and I turned the heat off, so it's a hair chilly. But outside of that, it's
No,
good
I
to
tell you,
talk
I
together.
was freezing this morning here in Florida. This morning I got up, it was 66 degrees, so I mean, it was just Arctic tundra type weather here.
Yeah, I think we got a whopping rainy and 40 or 45. So
Mhm.
as long as the wind's not blowing, I'll be
There you
fine.
go.
My grass needs the rain anyways.
There you go.
Hmm. So, you and I had recently discussed a couple weeks ago, very briefly, that there was some new updates with it's only the Benson Spendthrift Trust,
That's
correct?
correct. Yes.
Okay.
There are other trusts out there, and our trust, the Benson Financial Trust, which, as you know, is the original trust.
Mhm.
Robert Benson was the attorney who created these trusts. He studied under Professor Austin Scott at Harvard, who is considered the godfather of trust law in the United States. And so that's where he formulated the whole idea of a spendthrift trust where you can control all of your assets, be protected from lawsuit, not create taxable events, and to use contract law to do that as opposed to the statutory law, where, I'm sure you understand very
Right.
well, is that the deck is always stacked against you.
Mhm.
It's created to favor government and not.
Right. And my thought on that and kind of how I viewed it as whoever creates it is
Yes,
the one that's going to win.
exactly.
So, the government created the statutory system.
Yes,
It's stacked in their favor, clearly.
absolutely. Absolutely. And we still have a constitution. So,
Yes,
and we
thankfully.
still have, the right to contract, which is what this is all based on. So
Right.
anyway, Robert Benson started his practice. He moved when he went to private practice, he left Harvard. He went down to Houston in Southwest Florida, not Florida, I'm sorry, Southwest United States to focus on the oil and gas industry. And so he made his bones for decades helping people in that industry, especially those who had leases. And they got they're just creating money, pumping money out with those wells and those gas and oil, things like
Mhm.
that, and setting these trusts up for them. And so and they copyrighted it eventually. Mr. Benson did. Now he passed away somewhere after 2010 in that general area.
Right.
And what happened was you started having copycats, people coming out and stealing his intellectual property. And so a copyright law, from what I understand, is if you have to change something at least 33% for it to be considered, you can copyright yourself. So there's other trusts out there that say they're selling a spendthrift trust. They're saying, oh yeah, we've got ours as copyrighted. It's like, well, yeah, after you made the changes, right? And
Mhm.
so the issue is that some of the major competitors out there, they're actually copies of this trust. So they had to change it 60 something percent
Right.
of that. So what do you have? You have a name only situation.
Right.
So um so in a nutshell, what has happened is that we have a great, huge partner breakthrough now.
Mhm.
Lloyds of London is now partnering with only Benson Financial Trust clients
That's huge.
that they're offering audit protection policies. And the way this worked is we approached Lloyd's, and had them, they went through our trust with a legal fine-tooth comb. And they came back and said, yep, everything you say is everything this trust does, you say it does, it's legal 100%. We have no problem issuing insurance policies for any clients who want the peace of mind, just have a little extra peace of mind, as it were, to in case something would ever come up, then Lloyd's will cover them.
Right.
And that's pretty cool. Now, they made it a
That's really
point
cool.
to say that it's only for Benson Financial. So if you did not buy your trust from Benson Financial, you are SOL. You're not going to get that coverage because you're
Thankfully, I did buy
exposed.
mine through Benson.
Yeah, you're exposed, and mine's through it as well. So that is, I just think it's earth-shattering news,
That is huge.
game
Now,
changing.
the Lloyds of London, they're like the largest insurer of pretty much everything across the world, right?
Yeah, I mean they're based out of London, obviously,
Right.
UK. But it's funny because Lloyd's, you hear about Lloyd's a lot for maritime things,
I say they're
shipping.
they're big in the shipping.
Yes,
I know they're big in real estate as well on
yes,
the housing insurance. So
yes.
they're you hear that name and you're like, oh, just
And
there's no much thought after that.
you'll hear of athletes as well. Like
Okay.
they'll insure something like before they're going to get a big contract, they may
Right.
go ahead and insure themselves in case they have a catastrophic injury
Smart.
before that.
Right.
And so that typically Lloyd's is the one that does that. And they get really big. I mean, you start getting hedge funds and people with 100 million plus investments, they'll go in, they'll insure all that stuff too. So I mean, they're players,
Yeah.
huge
Oh, yeah.
players. You know,
Yeah. I mean, you drop that name in most places, and somebody may not know exactly what it is, but they've at least heard
Mhm.
of it.
Right?
So
Exactly.
their name recognition alone sets them apart from anybody else out there, I think.
Yeah. I think what you have to be careful about when you're thinking about this is that you know you could take it one of two ways. You could take it like we took it. It was like, wow, this is amazing. This is great, awesome. But we already knew the trust was good. We none of us, neither of us were worried about that.
Right.
It's I don't know, tens of thousands of tax returns, 70 years, one
Yeah.
audit, I mean, come on, and it passed with no change. So, but there's other people out there maybe who aren't familiar with how the trust works, or they may be a little skeptical. You could think like, well, why do I need it? It's like,
Exactly.
that's not the point.
Right.
The point, look, hey, I've already signed up. Okay. You never know, whatever.
Hmm.
But what I found exciting was that if they see no risk, they analyzed it and they see no risk, boy, that's a heck of a big vote of confidence as far as I'm concerned. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Because
I would
obviously, if
give
they're
them
gonna,
more weight than my local CPA doesn't know anything except for statutory law and just, oh, I wouldn't do that. Oh, I don't know.
the
Oh,
amount of people that I've talked to and people that I look up to, people that I think their IQs are 4 million points higher
yeah,
than mine, and they're like, oh, that's a bogus this. They're using more colorful words, but
yes.
oh, that's a bogus trust. It can't do that. I'm like, well, I've legally not paid taxes for a year now, and I'm
Yeah,
about to do it again
yeah,
because not because I'm not paying the taxes, because with the trust, I don't have taxable events.
exactly.
So
And
I
I
think
mean,
that's one of the biggest
this is
distinctions.
my fifth year, so
Yeah, because I'm in year two now,
yeah,
um, of fully implementing
right.
everything, and the safeguards, overall the peace of mind. And when I get
Hmm.
that text from you, I'm like, hey, I got some updates. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I was like,
Right.
that just kind of put the final nail down and be like, if one of the largest, if not the largest insurance company out there is they're like, hey, yeah, I don't see a risk in that. Sure, I'll take your money because
Certainly one of the most prestigious.
yeah, in my unhumble opinion, insurance is worthless until you actually need it.
Right, exactly.
But that's what insurance is there for. So
Right,
for someone to look at that company like that to be like, yeah, no problem at all, we got you.
right,
That's just, for them in their eyes, it's more of just a profit center because they're like, we're never going to have to try any of these cases or
right,
pay out any of these claims because we
right.
fully believe in this. And it's
Right.
smart on their part because they went through and looked at everything like, yeah, no,
Yeah,
you're legal.
right.
Sure, we'll insure it. I don't think you need it, but sure, we'll insure it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the definition of insurance, I think.
Yeah, 100%. So that's I mean, I've been involved with this I heard about this in 2021. So like I said, this is my fifth year, and by far it's the biggest um, endorsement, if you want to call it that, I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a great analogy.
yeah, And I find it because again, it's so frustrating when I talk to somebody and they obviously need it. They're paying through the nose on taxes, and they come back to me and say, "Well, I'd like to do it. It sounds great, but man, my CPA is telling me that that's going to give me a higher risk of an audit." And it's like it's exactly the opposite, but you
Yeah.
know, whatever, you
Hey, when
know.
I was going through talking with you, and
Mhm.
for background for anybody watching, Don and I probably had 6 to 10 rounds of
Yeah.
Q&A where I
Mhm.
would, he'd answer a bunch of questions and I'd go back and research more and I'd come back
Mhm.
with more. And when I talked to my, at the time, existing CPA, they're like, oh,
Mhm.
no, it's the highest tax this, it's that.
Yeah,
They don't know anything outside of statutory law. Most
right.
accountants and CPAs don't know above tax code like 600, I believe.
Mhm.
And there's roughly like 1,200 codes or something like that.
Yeah,
But there again, who's teaching these CPAs?
right.
Generally government institutions. So they only want them to
Yeah,
know the bottom part of the stuff.
right.
So,
Yeah.
follow where, do your own research by all means. Oh, that brings up one point. Don and I are not CPAs, nor are we attorneys. This is
Or
not legal or
financial
tax advice.
planners or estate planners.
Yes,
Not licensed in any way, shape, or form. I'm a licensed insurance agent, but I'm not a licensed tax, legal, or accounting professional.
correct. This is
None of
just
this should be
what,
considered tax, legal,
yes,
or financial or accounting information.
you, you practice that a lot more than I have.
I have, yes.
Um,
But
but yeah,
exactly.
this is what we use every day to run our businesses and to run our lives.
Yeah. We're both real estate guys. I'm more on
Mhm.
the flip side than you are, but
Yeah, I'm more of a buy and
it's
hold
it's
and
the same
obviously an agent.
principle. It's the same principle. And what's funny is that the level of ignorance that is so frustrating for me is that they're absolutely right. Trust tax rates are 37% if the revenue of the trust, yearly revenue, is above $15,451. They are 100% right and they are 100% wrong
Right.
because this trust would pay 37% if it ever incurred a taxable event. That's what
Mhm.
they don't see.
Right. It's just because they're not educated enough.
Right. And the ones that do know, they still will give out different disinformation because they don't make any money off these trusts. And I will tell you, my CPA, who I had for 20 years, I love the guy. He's became a good friend of mine.
Mhm.
Um, he's a good friend when he laughs at your jokes, and I enjoyed that. But I told him in 2021 I wanted to make the move. And I said, I want to take you with me, Roger. And he said, let me look at it. So he looked at it and he came back and said, you know what? Go. We Godspeed. I see why you're doing it. And I said, why don't you come with me? It's not that hard to do. And
Right.
he laughed at me. He literally laughed at me. He says, why would I want to go with your trust? He said, all I would make is it's a very simple tax return, 1041. That's it. I said, with what you're doing before, I did all the returns for all the LLCs you had, your S
Mhm.
corp, depreciation schedules, all of that stuff. And if you look at the people like Anderson, and they're trying to stack all of those entities.
Oh,
You got
goodness.
have your assets in a revocable trust. You want to have three or four LLCs. You want to have an S corp. Got to have a holding company. Every single
Mhm.
one of them has to have a tax return. You have to file pay annual reports. I mean, it's insane amount of money that you're spending every year, and they come out and frankly tell you all we're doing is trying to make it harder for people to track us down. They don't say it's impossible. They can't
Right.
guarantee that they are. It's just they're just trying to build a maze that people I've talked to attorneys who sue people and they go for big money, and they've said if we see Anderson, we know there's money. So it actually incentivizes them to dig,
Yeah.
you know.
No, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so to get back to my CPA, he said I would be crazy to do that. I wouldn't. I'd lose all my, I would my revenue would drop 80% if I did that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's not
No,
going to do it.
since starting the trust, one, not having a taxable event to now
Yeah,
not pay taxes, but in the August will be 20 years since I've been in business.
Hmm.
Last year's return
Hmm.
and all the things that went with it
Hmm.
was the cheapest return I've ever filed, even when I was, 20 years ago starting out and didn't
Hmm.
hardly make much.
Right.
My returns still cost more then than they do 19 years later.
Yeah.
It's, and it's the simplest thing versus me having to review everything. It's just, hey, here's what everything is, here's how everything balanced out, and you don't have a taxable event, so you don't owe anything and you're not getting
Right.
anything back. Good,
Right.
sign here.
Yep.
The most simple process.
Yeah.
And I, especially being self-employed in business and everything, my taxes usually don't get done till October.
Right.
Now I'm like, can I hurry up and get this done so it's just one less thing that I
Right.
have that I have looming, but
Hmm.
it's not like it's stressful and looming. Now it's just,
Right.
no, I need to get this done. Like I'm
Right.
harping on my bookkeepers. I'm like, you finished one trust. Now I need the other trust so I can finish that. And mostly I'm trying to push them on that, not because of the tax filing, but
Right.
I need another loan. I got to
Yeah.
refinance my HELOC. So I'm
Right.
like, they need my, they need my books because when
Right.
they're looking at the tax returns, it's like,
Right.
you make a lot, but you don't pay taxes. So I don't know if we
Right.
can give you a loan. So
Right.
having everything balanced out, and that's
Right.
that's probably as a real estate guy, that's probably one of the hardest things that
Yeah.
I'm running into is I don't pay tax because I don't have taxable events,
Right.
but now it hurts me qualifying for a loan,
Right.
which is very easy fix, at least in my opinion, on the investment side is a
Yes.
DSCR loan.
Yep.
The hardest thing is for primary. And
Right.
that's kind of the struggles I'm going through right now.
And some people end up just they take a salary just
Mhm.
because they want to not have to have a hassle about financing.
Right.
So you're paying the piper, you know?
You're sacrificing one way or the other.
Exactly.
It's just which one can you live with?
Right. See, now I went the other way because I'm not doing much in the buy and holds. I did some, but mostly buying my buy and holds were subject to.
Right.
So I didn't have to qualify for financing. But I
Yep.
built a network, mostly professionals, ironically enough, who would just love to lend me money on my flips because I was getting 10%. This was back, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
And it was secured against undervalued real estate with, with a 6 month period of time. They could flip, lots of times they were flipping their money, three or four times in a calendar year. So they were making, 40% sometimes.
Oh yeah.
They loved it.
Oh,
And there was no
absolutely.
risk because I gave them a second mortgage and
Yeah.
against the property. So I didn't need institutional financing. And right now, when I'm not doing much on as much as I used to, go slow down on the real estate side. But my gosh, why in the world? I don't care. I don't show anything. I don't show anything. And I
Hmm.
like that,
And
but other
that's the
people who
beautiful
are
part of it.
younger who need the financing, you got to
Correct.
pay the piper.
Yeah.
Just is
You
what it
you
is.
have to build to it. You've
Or
been
you
doing this a
start
long
building
time.
credit. You get to take
Correct.
the time
And
to build
I'm
credit for your trust.
and taking the trust and all of the benefits with it, and then
Mhm.
adding, I call it steroids to it,
Yep.
is all of my life insurance policies, and
Yep.
I'm infinite banking,
Yep.
cash value life insurance, all those things.
Yep.
The policies are on myself and my kids, but the trust owns them and the trust is the beneficiary. So
Hmm.
now I'm filling them tax free, they're
Yep.
growing tax free, and I'm
Yep.
literally building my own bank.
Yep.
If I were looking to refinance my TLOC this time next year, or honestly, I think forever after that, I
Yeah.
won't need a bank.
Right.
But it took me 4 or 5 years to build that. So,
Yep.
going back to the investment stuff, I'm my own
Hmm.
hard money lender.
Yeah.
I pull money out of the
Hmm.
trust, or I don't pull it out. I take a loan off of
Right.
the life insurance
Hmm.
and then loan it to the trust,
Yep.
buy real estate with it, and then pay
Well,
the
actually,
back.
if the trust owns the policy,
Yes.
then and the trust is a beneficiary of the death benefit, then the
Hmm.
trust pulls the money out. The money goes into the trust account, and then the
Correct.
trust invests it wherever it wants to go.
Correct.
And then whatever profit comes in, of course, is not going to trigger a taxable event. So
Right.
it's all this just closed um, loop, which
Hmm.
is great.
There was a clip I sent you on, I don't know, one of the social media platforms, but there was a movie. I forget when it was based in like UK somewhere, but it was
Uh-huh.
basically the guy talking about I own oil, then I own shipping, then I own this and this and this. And I don't have a taxable event because the trust owns everything and it just keeps paying itself and just continues to grow. And like,
Yes.
and I saw that for the first time right after I had signed up for the trust. And I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I'm
Ding,
doing.
ding. Exactly.
Yeah. It was
Except you don't
for
have
me, it
to,
was just more validation, I guess.
except you don't have to be, a multi-millionaire,
No.
magnate or whatever you call it.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
the guy in the video was a billionaire, but he was also like,
exactly.
800 years old.
Right.
I'm at kind of the infancy stage of that. Would I like to get
Yeah.
there one day? Maybe. I don't
I'm
know.
getting close to the 100 years old part, but yes. But I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. Let's put it
And
that way.
that's what matters.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
all right. So update number two for us. What do we got?
Well, we kind of put one and two together
I think
because
we did lump a lot of that together.
yeah, I mean the big thing was Lloyd's, of course, and then we just we spent a lot of time reiterating about the taxable event part of it, about why they're not there, and why this gives so much more credibility. But I would say that you want. I asked one of the people at Benson Financial earlier this week, actually, what is it, Tuesday, so Monday, yesterday.
Mhm.
And I think the statistic they came out with was approximately one audit and like in 50,000 returns.
Wow.
It's like, and then that audit passed with no change. And that was before, um, Lloyd's came on. So
Right.
now, if this was the case, first of all, I like those odds a lot.
Yeah.
But let's say that, Lloyd's, let's say that you're one of the unlucky ones like that, one in 50,000. Then what's going to happen is that Lloyd's is going to cut you a check for $1 million. They're going to pay for all the expenses.
That's
And whatever
insane.
is left over, buy a boat or whatever you want to do, you know? what I mean?
I do want a new boat. I've
Yeah,
wanted one for
exactly.
years. I just have a
Exactly.
bunch of kids in private school
Right.
and you know
Right. So why not?
lawyer retainer fees for
Yeah,
bad
I
real
know.
estate deals.
I know. But to get back to your point about how your accounting costs are much less, and
Mhm.
mine as well.
Yeah.
The cost of the insurance, even if you add the cost of the insurance to what your normal tax preparation uh, expenses are, it's still less than what it would be if you didn't, if you were just doing the regular way.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer at all. So
Yeah, I mean, I think an easier way to even look at it would be it's like an umbrella policy, but on the trust.
yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
Mhm.
And if it's the same rates as an umbrella policy, it's about
Mhm.
what, $100 a year, maybe?
Yeah, let's
$100 a
put it this
year?
way, it's very inexpensive.
Okay,
Yes.
good to know. Call for
So
more details.
exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So
Um,
if you're on the fence, you've been thinking about this and you just can't quite get over it because you know, all this you know, negative feedback you're getting, I would tend to give more credence to the Lloyd's legal department than I would Joe Blow CPA. That's just me.
Call me crazy, but yeah, I'm gonna
Exactly.
join in on that bandwagon.
Yeah. So there
Um,
you go.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you for the updates and thank you all for tuning in. I will drop Don's contact information in the show notes. If you have questions for me as to what I'm doing and how I'm using the trust to better my life, better my businesses, drop a comment below and I'm happy to answer that. So, Don, I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for joining us,
No
and
problem.
we will catch everybody next time.
See ya.